This is Drop Tent Media Network.
My mom has had a very traumatic childhood.
Yeah.
So,
which is usually the biggest thing in insecurity. Although I don't know, I feel like I went the other way with it, but it really does either go severely insecure or severely secure.
Well, and then talk about we're watching the Phillies game. And my mom goes, "Can you imagine people clapping for you at work? Like, can you imagine getting up and doing what you're supposed to do at work and getting claps? Like, can you imagine if Jack like made a diagnosis and people in the hospital clap for him?" And I was like, "Do you want to get claps in therapy? Like, because she's a therapist?
Yeah.
Like, do you want your clients to clap for you?"
Also, does she know what you do for a living?
And then it took me a second. Then I go, "Hey, wait a second."
She's like, "I know you're always up there with the microphone, but can you imagine if people clapped afterwards for once?"
Yeah. She's like, she forgot. But then she also sings at church, so she gets clapped. But I was like, I forget that her brain works so differently. And what she needs in comfort is so different than what I need. My mom is a prime example of someone who she'll get a new outfit she loves, but I'll be like, "Jamie, do you like it?" And we have very different tastes. So I won't like it. And then she just stares at me. And since I can't lie, I just stare at her. And I say, "I'm happy you like it." And she's like, "You don't like it." And I always am like, why do I need to? Then I have to remember, like, our insecurities are all different. I'm not shaming her. I am genuinely, I'm happy you like it. And she's like, "Oh, you hate it." And I'm like, I can't win here.
Yeah.
Because if I say I like it, I'm lying, and you'll be able to tell because my lying voice, I can't imagine what it sounds like. And then if I tell the truth, it sounds like I'm insulting you, but I'm not doing either.
Yeah. I mean, well, and also I think like there's like the generational thing of like how hard the parents of our parent, like that age group was on their daughters, especially.
Right.
Like insecurity is like all of those, like, you know, TikTokers or people on Instagram who do those characters and it's like your boomer mom, blah, blah, blah.
Mom,
and it, like those always crack me up. I mean, and it's like, because it's always just such a like deeply insecure, deeply needs to make sure everyone's comfortable all the time. Making sure no one's upset. Everyone's, you know, and it's exhausting for us, but it's like, oh, they are deeply, their brain is just like circus music playing at all times. And they're just like nervously like
every day realizing your parent is just a person.
Yeah.
Adult person.
Terrifying to realize.
Sorry, I went on a full tangent far away from laying to rest, which always come back to, I just need people to be honest and upfront.
Well, I will add that I want to lay to rest because I just, like I said, I talk about this in therapy a lot, struggling to feel empathy for the people in my life who do it because it's real and I get it. But I want to lay to rest when I say something, it is not about you. If I were to say to you, "Oh my gosh, I hate when you're in traffic and somebody does this."
Once I was in traffic.
Right. Or "I never do that." I wasn't saying you do it. It was not an accusation.
Kirsten, I've never done that before.
Okay.
I've never, in any conversation in my life, have ever one-upped you about traffic.
And
what are you talking about? Like, I'm just listening to you, not railroading you at all.
No.
I was stuck in traffic in this conversation.
I'm actually recording this from traffic. From traffic that I caused. And it's actually pretty monumental. It's probably going to be on the news, national.
Well, one time I was in traffic that was on international news. So
one time I was in traffic during 9/11.
Well, okay. But one time I was in traffic before 9/11 happened.
I was born in traffic and I've been in traffic ever since.
Here's the thing though. Traffic is me.
My middle name is Traffic. It was named after me.
My first name is Traffic, middle name Cone. What are you?
And
it's a family name.
Philadelphia Water Company.
It's a family name.
It was your great grandmother's, right?
It is crazy when you watch someone do that because I'm sure I've done it because my brain moves faster than my mouth can stop it. But when I hear someone, and I try to be empathetic that they're just trying to make conversation, but just even you saying, "I'm stuck in traffic," and people are like, "Whew, been there." Like, what the hell?
Yeah, if you haven't been in traffic, that would be notable. It would be way more notable if you had not ever been in traffic.
Tell me more. I only teleport places. Like, shut up.
That's worth saying.
It's similar. You sound like saying me about my ick about being when men say they're cold. It's a similar theme where I'm like, why are you telling me something I can't adjust, I don't have control of,
Or you're
and
tired.
you saying it out loud doesn't fix anything. Only I'm allowed to complain. I'm queen of the world.
I'm the only one who's ever been cold or tired.
Yeah. Yo soy.
Yo soy. Okay. That's your later rest. What's your or do you want to? How do you want to?
Let me. You had said you had 2 later rests.
I have 1 later rest.
Oh, sorry.
Mine is, and this is, I think about this a lot because I've been writing a joke about it recently. But about like a persecution fetish is.
Do tell.
Like, it's not an actual sexual fetish, but like it's like a term for like the people who like want what they say to be hot. Like, they want what they say to ruffle feathers. Like the people who are like, I know this is like, no, like the people who are like, you know what? I know it's not going to be a popular opinion, what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
I know it's going to upset people, but sometimes you have to put truth to power. And then they're like, the
most normal thing ever.
I hate cancer. I don't support it. I don't support people having cancer. I think people shouldn't have to have cancer. And I know not everyone's going to agree.
You sound like you're doing a John Early character.
Yeah, I do. I am a John Early character. And John Early would destroy me if he were to sit here and roast me. He knows too much about me. But yeah, the people who are like, and I was like making a list of like, for a bit of like what people say. And like, you see it a lot with boomers, see it a lot with like Fox News kind of people, like people who want their take to be so hot. And it's,
I know people aren't going to like it when I say this.
Like, do you know the girl, Caitlin Bennett? She was like, the girl with the gun.
Curly hair.
The curly, yeah. And she's like that, where like she wants so bad for people to be upset. But sometimes she'll go around and say stuff. And like, even if what she's saying is rude, people know it's what she wants. So they just walk away. And she's furious because she has such a bad persecution fetish. Like, she wants what she says to be so upsetting to people. Hang on. I want to read the examples I gave of the least hot takes, but I want to know if you have any examples of that.
A least hot take?
Yeah, like the people who think that what they're saying is monumental and it's so, but they want it to be like, look, I know not everyone's going to agree with me, and that's okay. I don't have to be popular.
I'm trying to think of a famous person that does that. I think it's just a fun bit, like for your bits we do in real life.
Yeah, practical bit.
Like, it's funny, and I'm like out to dinner. I say like, I know you guys aren't gonna like this, but I am getting bread for the table.
Yeah.
This might not be popular, but I ordered the bottle of wine. Yeah. Like,
and I'm paying for it. And if you have a problem with that, then you can get out. Yeah, hang on. Because I was just like literally trying to think of examples that people say to, I've heard people say. Okay. Dresses should have pockets. The people who are like acting like that's a hot, like you thought of that.
Okay, hot.
I think women should be paid as much as men.
So you just do not like the bit, because I feel like people have taken this ironically to an extent.
Oh yeah, no, like it. I mean, it is a bit, obviously. But like, okay, another one is like when people will be like I feel like I see it just a lot of like the like faith and flag boomers who share those things that are like they're creating a war that doesn't exist.
Right.
It's like the meme. It's like a stock or it's like an image of like a kid on the ground with a boot on being stepped on his face, but then it's a zoom out and he's holding the boot on his own face, and it's like the war on Christmas, or it's like because it's not fucking real. It's self-created because you just want to be like, people are against me right now. And it's like nobody, people are saying you shouldn't say the gingerbread man, you should say the gingerbread person. I've never heard anyone say that in my fucking life. You made it up to find a fake war on yourself.
Remember when they were like taking down Confederate statues? I saw a meme that said, if you're mad about the statues coming down, you're either racist or a pigeon. And I thought it was the funniest thing in the time of times. And I was near a family member who is a pigeon, I'll say.
Can we start calling racists pigeons?
Yeah, no, because that's mean to pigeons.
You're right.
I'm pro pidge.
Yeah.
And he was enraged by this meme.
Oh.
And I said to him, I was like, might be like an unpopular opinion. But when's the last time you've driven to look at, or he was like, what's next? Are you going to get rid of history textbooks? And I was like, name a statue you've learned something from.
Yeah. Name a statue.
Name a book you've opened recently.
What's your favorite history book? And who's your favorite history book author?
Me, personally, The History of Pigeons.
Whenever you bust out that voice, I know you're about to say something so fucking stupid.
I have to give a shout out to Maddie Cooper and her friends. We went to Puerto Rico and they were talking about this is something that could be laid to rest, but talking about unpopular opinions, like assigning genders like blue and pink at a young age. We were talking about little girls that loved purple and a little, because we met a little girl on the beach who was like, my name is Awawa and my favorite color is purple. So we were talking about purple girls, and they were all saying that like if you were a purple girl, it like really stuck with you, and like purple became your identity, and like it was like unpopular opinion, I'm a purple girl. So we were like yelling out purple girl, and while they're like floating in the ocean, and this grown woman walked by in a purple dress, like in bathing suit, and she was like, I get it, I'm a purple girl.
When she thought the bit was about her.
Well, she just like heard us talking and she was like, I'm a purple girl. Probably less lisp than I'm remembering. But I just was thinking about that, about like it made me think of it with the unpopular, like, babies, like, you know, aren't impacted by blue or pink. Like, yeah they for sure are.
They for sure. That's why you're wearing a sports hat right now, which is a boy hat, but then you were like, what if I made it for girls? And then that's why
what if? Oh, you didn't see the vagina I drew on it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
you ever see that the Phillies, like, all the teams have, like, and I get doing different styles and things, but sometimes, like, the women just have flowers on them. And I'm like, what in the Georgia O'Keeffe is this? Oh, my God.
Or they are like I always think of this when I hear your bit about the Titanic thing, but, which say your bit for the listeners.
Oh, I say sports apparel stores are set up like the Titanic, men everywhere, women and children stuff shot by the exit.
Yeah. And like I always think about the when you go in like during football season, like Target or something, and the little kid section, and it's like Eagles gear, like Eagles jerseys for the boys, and then it's like Eagles cheerleader outfit for the girls. Always, she's a cheerleader. She could be maybe like the chef she could be the one who cooks or something. She could be assistant to the coach, maybe. Right. The secretary, the one who
bottle holder.
Yeah. Right. She holds the drinks.
It's funny because there are so many women on the sideline.
No, I know. Yeah. Right. Like Jalen Hurts' entire management team is women. Yeah. But it is so funny how every time you want to get like a little kid thing, that's like kind of the last thing to get that they have, like truly just not stop. It's not even just like a pink jersey. She's a cheerleader. It has a little skirt and pom-poms attached to it.
Yeah. And it comes with a really low salary.
But like decades of hard work.
Yeah. True. So much body trauma.
Yeah, right. Truly, yeah. Like a guaranteed like body dysmorphia and being treated like shit and all of that just to be paid like the minimum wage from 2007.
Or she could have just been a purple girl.
If you're a purple girl, get down to the Baltimore Ravens. You're going to love it.
Dirty birds. Wait, do you want to say what thing you want to resurrect?
I do. I want to resurrect. I should have started with this because it's stupid. Kind of actually on brand with what your neighbor said to you with you and your stepdad. I want to resurrect when people would say bad case of the Mondays. I want that back now. And then people do the bit where it's like a disease.
I never know what day of the week it is. So that would help me out a lot.
And you
like
get
if I saw my neighbors and walked out and was like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, bad case of Mondays. I'd be like, fuck, it's Monday. I have to do No, thank
So win-win. You get a good laugh because it's a great joke,
Good laugh.
and
It's
you get
informative.
to know what day of the week it is.
It's helpful.
So jokes can also cause societal change.
The other night I asked someone what day of the week it was, and she started laughing. Like a laugh I wish I got on stage. She was like, what day of the week is it? And I was like,
was it a notable
I
one?
was like, sorry, I'll pull my phone out.
Like Saturday.
But then flip side, at the show at the Dutch you were at, I was giving kudos because it was a Tuesday night show. I was giving kudos to the people who came out who work 9 to 5. And they were like, well, we don't have to go to the office tomorrow. It's Wednesday. Like, and my face completely changed. And I was like, why'd you say like that was a normal day of the week that I should know that your office specifically doesn't go in?
We don't have to get into it, but I just want to mention, shout out to the woman who, when I was doing my bit about flying on a plane with an unaccompanied minor, and I ask if anyone's ever sat next to one. And when someone says yes, I ask how old the kid was. And she said, I'm not good with kids' ages. She said this with not an ounce of joking or trying to be funny. She said, I'm not good at kids' ages from anywhere from like 4 to 12. And you went up right after me and
let her have it for 7 to 8 minutes.
You took a good chunk out of your own time just to be like.
That's something else I'd like to lay to rest is people acting like they don't know what a baby is, or like human babies are different species than them. I get that you think you don't like kids because you don't spend time with them. What you don't like is bad parenting. You don't like kids that act out because of bad parenting.
You don't like parents, yeah.
You don't like lack of discipline. So saying I don't like kids, you can avoid kids 99% of your life as a grown adult, a single person, even a city or suburb, you can avoid kids. Also, what you're mad at is lack of discipline. Because to say that you don't know a kid between 4 to 12, because then I started backpedaling. I was like, oh, maybe she had a really traumatic childhood. Because how can you not know the range from before kindergarten to middle school?
Toddler, like high-pitched voice, like little cutie kid.
Purple girl?
To purple girls.
Oh, to a purple girl.
To a purple girly.
Girly Bob.
12 is, I mean.
And this person, I will say,
middle school.
Great sport. She was super fun audience member. She was a good sport about it all. And her argument was that she's 5 feet tall. So she has no sense.
Which should be even more telling because then when they're 12, they're taller than you. And when they're 4, they're at your fucking knee.
And then I doubled down and said, it's an interesting way to just say that you're self-centered. Because to say that you have no concept of anybody else.
Yeah.
I couldn't guess. There's some kids, not wrong, maybe 4 to 8.
I was just going to say, yeah. Or like, I was going to say like 5, 6, 7. Like those are around where I'm like, yeah, you're like, early elementary school. But we're some kids are taller than the other.
Booster seat to sports bra.
Right.
Like we're
like still need someone to take them to the bathroom.
Right.
To like, you're in middle school.
Right.
You're like talking about boys and like getting into makeup or whatever. Like you're 12 years old.
Right. 4 to 12. You could have just been like, did you have a conversation with the kid or no? Could you have had a conversation with the kid or no?
Biologically, a 12-year-old, unfortunately, but this is true. Biologically, a 12-year-old could have a kid. And you don't know the difference.
Between a baby.
A little baby purple girl.
Baby purple.
Yeah, thank you for getting her because I was so taken. I watched the video Cam sent me and my face, I went through the full 7 stages of grief while she did it. I couldn't even think of, that might have to be my next redemption hour one because what I should have said was so many things, but she was so taken.
And then she went to say, I said, do you have family or friends with kids? Like not to be too into your life. And they were like, yeah, but I just like get a gift and show up. And I was like, to the lack of care, you don't have to like kids. You don't have to spend time with kids. But it's just straight up disrespectful to act like you don't know what a human being is.
It felt like the same energy as like the guys who are like, oh, is that other guy hot? I couldn't even tell. I don't even know when a guy's hot.
Yeah.
I
don't even know what a baby is. Like my uterus is so dry. Have sex with me, please.
Yeah.
That's like what I heard. I was like, what? Just no one is trying to impregnate you.
Right. Like being like a kid hater, like your whole personality. Like, I actually hate kids so much that what the fuck was that? What is that thing in your arms?
I have to remind people, I'm like, you don't have to have a kid. What you don't like is bad parenting.
Oh, yeah.
Because kids rock. Kids are so funny, simple, so silly, just having fun.
Cool kids are cool.
But what you don't like is parents that let their kids run around like crazy.
And working in restaurants was exactly when I had that realization. I do not hate kids. I hate parents. I hate them. They're especially the bad ones. But when a kid is cool, I know plenty of like absolute rock and roll bitches who happen to be 4 years old.
Yeah.
They're badass. They're cool. They're funny. Right up to the line without crossing it. Some unpopular opinions.
Actually, my resurrect is about opinions. Are you done yours? Do you have another one I meant?
No, it's
I think we should resurrect saying your opinion without bumpers up. Like, you know, when you hear someone now say, like they're about to talk about someone, they're like, I really love him. He's a good person.
Pappas.
Or when they're about to say like, I'm against war, but I think that, like, just say your opinion. Like, at a baseline, if I'm having a conversation with you, I respect you and don't think you're a monster human. So it's the like dance around what they're actually gonna say. And I think people are so worried about getting smushed for saying one thing. And I get that. That's the society we live in. We don't give people first drafts anymore. We just smush them right away. Even in friendships and things like, we've jumped down Neil's throat for something small, like, and he doesn't talk for 2 hours while we're in here. I've jumped on people all the time. Trying not to, but when people start a sentence being like, I'm not usually like this, like I don't usually talk badly about people, and I was like, now I know you do first.
Right.
It's like, just say the thing, because maybe I don't think it's bad. There's a difference between talking about someone and gossiping.
Agreed.
Like, if something happened to you and someone asked me about it, that's not gossiping. I'm just like, oh, Kirsten.
Saying I'm in the hospital is not gossip.
Right. And they're like, I don't want to like talk badly about her. Like, is she okay?
And
I'm like, what about this? Now I think you think badly of her. Like the whole, so my thing we need to resurrect is just say your opinion without your bumpers up.
Yeah. I don't need your full preface. And also, like, Savannah's mom, Leslie, always would say, like, when hi, Leslie. She would always say, like, to Savannah, like, you know, typically, not always, but like, if you say something and no matter what you say, and then you say the word but, typically anything you said before the word but is.
I do a joke about that. My aunt said this is a compliment, but.
Yeah.
She started a big preamble and looked at me. This is a compliment, but.
Yeah.
Producer and friend, Neil Wood here. Brief commercial break.
Hey, hold right there. Don't dare skip this. This is an important message. Me and my boy, Albert Davis, we want to tell you about our podcast, Seriously Dad. Albert, why should they listen?
Because it's the best podcast in the world. It's by two comedians who are dads. And you know what we're talking about? Being dads. It's called Seriously Dad. Check us out on social media at Seriously Dad Podcast. And
anywhere you get your podcast, that's where we're at. We're funny. We got some great guests coming our way. We cover the topics you want to hear. Check us out.
Yeah. Savannah and I do like a really common, like, we do this like practical bit. We've been doing it since high school, where like when you're like doing it, kind of impersonating the people who are like that, who are like, we'll say the illest shit on someone and we'll be like, I don't know if you heard, like, and they're like straight up calling people names. And like, but no one loves her more. Like, don't get me wrong. I love her. But sometimes, like, she is just so, like, she's a little sloppy cunt. Like, all the time. She's like a stupid, dumb bitch who no one has ever loved her ever.
Is it a Kardashian?
Do not get me wrong. I love her.
Where they do that?
Oh, I don't know.
There's a TikTok sound where like, and like, I'm just like fucking afraid of her. Like when she walks in the room.
Oh, maybe.
Like, they do like a whole.
Yeah. And it's
whisper.
like, I love her so much. Like, I love them together. They're such a great couple. But sometimes I just feel like, and then it's,
I mean, as much as we roast, I don't, and I know you say roast in your love language.
Yeah.
I feel that way sometimes. I don't like love just writing and thinking. Like, I stopped doing roast battles because I hate sitting there and thinking so negatively. Like,
but I feel like at least ours are fun and
to the point, like, of what we're talking about.
Yeah, and creative. Like, we're not picking like stupid hack like things.
Right,
like, and
they're thoughtful.
Right, yeah, they're thoughtful, and they just prove that how much we know each other.
But it definitely seeps in my brain.
Yeah,
like yesterday, I was. Why do I keep timestamping this? I went to a Phillies game, and they would show some player would do something on the opposing team, and my brain would go roasting this guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like to myself. Because sometimes if I'm writing a lot of roasts, like when I was doing amidst of doing a lot of roast battles and I would meet another comedian, I would have them in the tank ready to go.
Yeah, like it's not hard for you. Like when you find out who you're roasting, and you're like, "Oh, okay, got it."
Got it. I already have 40 things about that. Yeah, and I don't always love thinking that. Like, because if you named a comedian and were like, "Can you write a roast about them?" I say yes, no thought. But if you said, "Can you tell me something you like about them?" I will do my darndest. But right now, if you gave me a list, like if I looked at, for instance, Philly's Funniest is coming up, and we're on a Neil Worm and I are on the same night.
Everyone be there.
If you told me I had to, everyone on there had to write a roast about. Actually, this is a bad example because I could say something nice about everyone on that list.
You should ask to go last and then just make your set roasting all of them.
It's in the order of the lineup.
No, I know, but you should ask to be moved.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then just make your roast.
And just tank it, DQ myself, and just roast everyone. Like I used to do it at Wortlieb's mic. I used to go up and I would get feedback, but sometimes it would turn into a bit of roasting.
I remember you and I did that together once when I helped you run it. And it was so, I mean, I feel like it's tough though, because I am someone who, and even saying this, it feels braggy and pretentious. There's no way to say it, but it is truly just a thing that is about like, you will not like catch me. I have so much trouble just being in a room where people are talking shit and not feel the need to be the person who fucking ruins it. Like not trying to, but my brain is just like always like, sure, but blah, blah. Like there's always a flip side. And like my documentary crew gave me a talking about this after they followed me for a year. They were like, anytime you say something negative, you follow it with but it's okay because blah, blah, blah. Like you will, and it's reaching. Sometimes it's like not even valid, but you're just trying to say anything to end on a positive note.
Yeah.
And no one likes that person. Like, yes, I am not a good shit talker, but no one likes the person who comes in and is like, I don't think we should be talking shit. Everyone's like, okay, we're just not going to hang out. Like, like, sure, yeah, we shouldn't, but there's no way to do that without seeming like you're better than them or like, I'm self-actualized, and so I don't need to talk shit. Like sometimes there's times where I'm like, you're in a group of, I don't know, you're in a group of people, like I hate to say girls, but like sometimes there's like, you're in a group of girls and I feel like I'm like and again, there's no way to say this without sounding like I'm being like, oh, I'm not like the other girls, whatever, but they'll like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. I'm like listening and I'm like, yeah. And also they did really great at that thing. And it's like, that's not what we're doing. I'm usually
the one to say, what is the point? Like,
agreed.
If it's not like a funny roast or we're just like beating a dead horse, like I'm often like, okay, and then what?
Yeah. Right.
Which is just as annoying as the person that's
exactly.
Like,
and there's no way to be the person properly. There's no way to even talk. Right now, I want to smack myself. I'm going to ask you to cut this because it sounds so full of myself. Like
I don't think it does at all.
It makes me feel like the person who's like,
I'm not cutting this.
Okay.
I don't think it's bad at all.
Earlier, Cut-a-rooney?
I'm not cut-a-rooneying that because I don't think what you're saying is bad. I think maybe a hint of insecurity of having to be that person. Like,
yeah, it's not a fun person.
No, but I also feel the insecurity of like whenever I start talking about someone, I feel bad. I feel bad if I'm talking about someone. Especially in comedy, you're generally around a hot mic.
Yeah, right.
And I've listened back to tapes where people will say stuff about me and I can hear it on my phone.
Yeah.
It's always good. But I've heard it.
Yeah.
And I think about sometimes I'll move it along, but in a different way. I'll be like, okay, and then what? Right.
I try to redirect. Like I've never been the person who's like, and I've been in rooms with those people who are like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't think we should be blah, blah, blah. And it's oh my God. And I agree.
Guys.
I agree. But wow, do you just make everyone else feel like, and again, they're wrong for doing it. You're wrong for doing that. There's no right way to do it. But God, do I get so anxious in conversations. Like one-on-one is different. Like, obviously like if something happened, like, you and I can sit and have dinner and like, I'm always down to like, listen and agree where there's agreement.
Something off mic that I wouldn't call gossiping. I wouldn't say something negative. It was just something that happened and something I was a part of. I wanted to share it with you because I thought you'd be interested because it impacted multiple of your friendships.
Agreed. And I am because I didn't think of that as gossiping. And yeah, I feel like
I wasn't. I was, this is something that happened.
It's more like when the people sit around and do the like, it's like a Real Housewives level of like speculating wildly.
Right.
Maybe it's because
they're always doing that.
Right. Or like just using, like, honestly, I feel like when adjectives come into play is when it starts to be like, you know, gossiping because you are just completely like adding speculation to stuff and like acting like it's true. Or you're saying, you're not just saying like, oh, this person, you know, like something about their outfit they wore to something you were at. And it's like, by being like, it was so ugly. Like, that's where I'm like, you were blatantly shit talking, you know?
Right. Because you could even say, oh, it wasn't my taste. It was out there. Like, there's so many half-assed.
Or if the story is like, people around were all responding really negatively and it was really hard to watch because like, it was like, how does this person not realize it? And you want to just go up to them and be like, oh my God, like,
Stop talking.
Right.
Pull yourself out of this conversation.
Right. But there's so, I feel like, and again, maybe that's just, maybe there's people listening to this who are going to be like, that's just swinging the same thing. You know, maybe it is just, I'm living in a fantasy world, but Neil is straight up standing up over there.
Ew.
He doesn't like that we're talking shit.
I don't even see. I think that's my thing is I hate when other people perceive something as gossip when you're just talking. I think I've told you. Anytime I tell a man about the comedian that harassed me for months, they'll say, I don't do drama. I don't do gossip. And that drives me nuts. It drives me nuts when people feel a type of way about what you're saying, so they call it gossip. And it's mostly because it's about their friend and they don't want to hear it.
Like, I don't want to get involved with any of this. It's like, there's not two sides. There's one side.
Yeah.
There's not.
Well, also, are we friends? Like, am I not your friend telling you something?
Yeah.
Well,
you hardly know this other person.
I don't do drama. What do you do?
I do purple. And I wear purple.
How crazy. Aurora is a popular kid name now. I always think that about naming your kid something that's a common speech impediment. Shout out to my niece Sophia. She can say her J's really well.
Let's go.
Which is impressive because
almost
every kid.
Her name at all? Well, Jamie, yeah.
Not in her middle name or anything, no. But me and my stepdad. So any kid I nanny for couldn't really say J's for a while. So it would be some sort of like Mimi, Mamie. But hers is like a full Jamie.
That's actually pretty dope.
It's so cute because she was calling my stepdad for a while Ack, but it's now Jack.
Yeah.
Jay's really hard to say.
It is, yeah.
So I just want to give Sophia a shout out. Great job pronouncing your words. I'll send you this clip.
Sophia, thank you for liking and subscribing. You've always been a great follower of the Patreon.
Thank you for sharing it with your daycare class. You're doing amazing, sweetie.
You always follow through on payments. You're always donating. We really appreciate it.
You bypassed the 18 and over thing on Spotify. You're doing great.
Your comments are hilarious.
Spotify and YouTube do, like, they'll say, is there explicit content? Like, is this 18 and over? Is this, and it'll be like, basically, like, are you targeting kids? Like advertising.
Oh my
not like bullying. And I just think it's
today
like
we're talking shit on Aurora. Right. Thanks for tuning in. This purple bitch.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Just shit talking kids like a gossip channel.
Well, it wasn't even a show. The girls were, like, just talking about someone. But that's pretty much the only stipulation on these platforms and OnlyFans. It's like if you mention anything underage, get it out of here, which I respect, but I'm like, there's got to be some more rules than this. You don't have any other questions for me about what our podcast is saying, Spotify?
Right.
I can say but that's the problem, and like, I'm not going to go on a media literacy tangent, but I would love to.
Our other podcast
is that you can just get a microphone and say whatever,
and if it's professional enough.
What was your strongest opinion as a kid?
My hardest opinion, I
in 6th grade I did an intense project on like symbiotic relationships in the coral reef and other fish, and that really changed my life.
How so?
That I'm still talking about. Well, first off, it was our first way to do a presentation and record yourself on video. Like, it got recorded and then you had to watch it back and get feedback.
Okay, so a real like gateway into
drugs.
Your current drug. The drug being laughter and
being symbiotic relationships.
Having your voice amplified for other people to hear.
I think there were just occasional, I just always had, my strong opinions were all about animals from I was little.
Okay, what was your hardest opinion on an animal?
I think I think it was just about like which animals, the understanding of like saving animals. Like people were on a big like, dairy farm, this, that. I'm like, oh, the animals that were bred to die versus the animals that are naturally being killed. Oh, that is a big swing, big opinion. I think there's like an interesting debate about, especially with like life and death and people's morality about eating meat and everything.
Farm
and,
animals versus,
Right. Especially like animals born on a farm. Like we're not plucking cows and putting them in a farm. But I understand that most farms, a lot of farms, I'm going to say most, are not sustainable or not treating animals well, blah, blah, blah. But when I was little, I really was like fixated on the environment. And
you were
like,
hardcore about it.
I think it's just all I thought about. I didn't do it. I wasn't like Greta.
Yeah.
I'm out here saving the environment. I wasn't doing anything about it, but I think it impacted a lot of things I did.
Okay.
Like how much I hate cigarette smokers now.
Sure.
I still will not understand cigarette smokers flicking cigarettes onto the street. I will talk about it till I'm blue in the face.
If you were a litter bug.
It is the most foul habit because you're impacting other people. Like kill yourself any other way. I'm so sick of it. I am sick of having to smell them.
Not my problem.
Smell the people, the cigarettes, the trash from it. It's got to be the #1 litter item in the US.
For sure.
Also, where do you think it's going?
Okay, blatantly doing it in front
And it's
of
always
people.
people like, Philly's trash, and then they'll flick a cigarette. I'm like, no, actually, you're trash. You're garbage. If you think like you could just throw something on the ground and it just disappears, like I'm someone that's chased gum wrappers that are biodegradable down the street as to not just let them go into a drain.
Yeah.
But cigarette smokers drive me effing nuts. It's disgusting. It's dirty. You get nothing out of it. However, I understand that you're addicted to nicotine, and that's not your fault.
There's other ways to get nicotine.
But you can throw your fucking cigarette butts anywhere but the ground that I have to walk on and the earth that I have to. It's so selfish of a disease. Like have cystic fibrosis. Keep it to yourself.
Grow up and get cystic fibrosis and get one of the good mutations.
Cigarettes gross me out beyond belief.
I very much agree. I think for obvious reasons, but I
one time in college was like flirting with a guy all night at a party, blah 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 blah.
Ooh.
And I think he didn't think anything was gonna happen. And I leaned in to kiss him for the night, and he had smoked a cigarette. And I was like, oh. And he was like, I wouldn't have smoked it if I knew we were gonna kiss, blah blah blah. I was like, no, I'm more mad that you smoked it and probably flicked it outside. Like I went on a whole tirade about it.
You shouldn't have smoked it regardless because smoking kills.
Well, and I was like, also, if you know it's disgusting and someone wouldn't want to touch you because of it, maybe stop doing it. Yeah. Read a book. Get hypnotized. Do something.
I have 2, I think. I know one for sure, my hottest take as a kid, because it's funny, when we released, I guess, last week's episode, my mom texted me and was like, I can't believe you are talking about Komodo dragons and not talking about this other thing that I'm about to say. And I was like, haha, you're right. I'll have to tell Jamie.
Your mom is so supportive.
She is so supportive. And I was like, haha, you're right. I'll tell Jamie. And she was like, I'll tell her if you want, blah, blah, blah. So when I was a kid, I was, and like, even like into a teen, still kind of.
So if we back up for listeners that didn't hear the other episode in which you said you had you have an intense fear of Komodo dragons.
Yes, because I didn't know about them till recently.
Didn't know about them till recently, to which my brain combusted and said you didn't know about Komodo dragons.
No. And I am every city I go to the zoo. I'm like a huge planet. Like I love animals.
A zoo girl.
Yeah, I'm a zoo girl. I just love
big
animals.
Komodo dragon girl.
Yeah. And but as a kid and like still, I mean, even through college, I still kind of am. I guess I had a really, really, really formative dream as a kid about it. I was fucking terrified of manatees. If there's manatees in an ocean or in a body of water, and I think it's also the fact that everyone's like, oh, it'd be so cool. Like people consider it the same as like swimming with dolphins. And I'm fucking horrified by them because I had a scary dream.
Because I had a whale dream.
Yeah.
That has left me with a recurring whale dream, left me with a very healthy fear of whales. Sharks, I get what you're going to do depending on the type of shark. Whales can just kill you by size. What happened in the manatee dream? I'm going to tell you, but it was little kid logic. So you need to not make fun of me. Okay. I was in, I guess because when I had learned about that, I'll close my eyes.
That's the only way you can not make fun of me. I was in the shower.
Okay. In your dream, you're in the shower.
In my dream, I was in the shower or the bath or whatever.
Okay.
And I guess because I had just seen,
Free Willy.
Yeah, I had maybe just like heard about manatees like not that long prior, and they look kind of like gelatiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they look really malleable. And in my dream, because it squeezed and swam up through the drain, like because it could squeeze. Because in my brain it didn't have like bones or whatever, and then it came out and popped back open to normal size and bit off my feet and took them. I went back in, and I was just sitting there bleeding out with no feet. And then it had just.
Did you wake up screaming? Like,
I don't know if I don't remember like my actual reaction in life, but
yeah, that's horrifying.
I'm getting.
He figured out how to spell.
He literally
manatee?
just took a little one and just right over it and covered it so that you wouldn't believe me.
I saw him move. He's not that quick. You gotta be faster than that.
You know who was the manatee in the dream? Literally, he went whoop, and then and then whoop.
Classic, like one of the most gentle, notoriously gentle creatures.
I know, and that's what everyone says. They're sea cows. They're so docile. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what I know. You haven't seen what I've seen.
How many scary dream can mess you up?
Thank you.
My childhood dream, I had a recurring dream about a house fire. Did I talk about that on here? I feel like I did.
Maybe.
So much so that we had like fire safety in school. So much so that I now to this day have fire safe ladders.
Good.
That go out my windows.
As you should.
But at this time I had this dream where in our neighborhood, in our new house, the house just like combusted, caught on fire. And I had my dog at the time, shout out Buddy, R.I.P. Couldn't find my family. And all my neighbors' houses started to spontaneously go up.
No, all of that.
So I was just like walking through the neighborhood and it was like horrible.
That's fucking terrifying.
So in fire safety, they tell you to have like a pillowcase ready with the stuff that you would carry out. So you can just like quick grab it, tie it, have something. And so I packed a pillowcase up. And my stepdad came in my room one day and was like, hey, this fire safety thing, it's a little out of hand. The house isn't going to catch on fire. But at this point, my stepdad's very new in my life. And I was like, okay, but I'm scared, like, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, it's just ridiculous. Like, you don't need to have this pillowcase packed.
He wasn't in your dream.
He went to empty the pillowcase thinking it would be like a stuffed animal, my Game Boy. And what he pulls out was a photo of my dead father, my dead grandmother, and the stuffed animal that my dad's best friend gave me when I was born. And I saw this man's face drop, and he just put everything back in the pillowcase and put it down and walked out of my room.
And said 3 Hail Marys for your soul because you were.
And I think about, as an adult, how crushing that moment was for him, because he was picturing like me putting like Candyland or whatever the heck in this.
Yeah,
when you hear about little kids like running away or threatening to run away, they pack a ridiculous bag. And mine was objectively things that would have been ruined in a fire.
Right.
Like he was thinking it was like replaceable things. And I truly put the 3 things in my room that were not replaceable.
And he was like, you actually won the argument though, because then he was like, you know what? That's a good point.
Yeah.
These things cannot be fixed.
I think it hit him how little he was prepared to have 2 kids who had a dad drop dead suddenly.
No one's prepared for that, let alone the new dad.
No.
Definitely
but
not.
The dream really stuck with me. And same thing with Wales. Mine was like, we grew up going to this beach that has like a lagoon, like a man-made lagoon that goes out to the marina. So we would float and like play in that lagoon. And in one dream I had, I was like in a marina-esque, like there were docks out and I was like swimming, but I just got like pinned against one of the docks because a bunch of whales came through and I like couldn't get out.
That is, and whales are, I mean, those videos, I also have like very big like megalophobia, like things that are huge or so, it's definitely like a 9/11 thing, but I'm so fucking scared. I get like sick to my stomach when I see
something that's big. So
cruise
it works
ships.
out for all your boyfriends.
Anything. What'd you say?
If you're scared of things that are big, it works out for your boyfriends.
Hey-o. Yeah, it does. And so I'm like so afraid of, like being in the ocean and like, there's like those pictures of like a sunken ship under the ocean, like make me, I could throw up thinking about them. They give me a physical reaction.
Yeah.
And whales, I mean, oh my God, those pictures you can see that are overhead of like a person swimming and a blue whale below them. I'm literally salivating. I'm just going to throw up.
Whales really freak me out. It's funny because I didn't put this together for like so long, but one of my good friends, Jake, and I went on a booze cruise. We went to Mexico together and we went on like a booze cruise snorkel thing. So they have you snorkel first, but on the boat ride out to a snorkel, and it was one of those like large flat bottom, like 2-layer, like 2-level touristy boats. The boat just turned off in the middle of the ocean. And then you hear like a shh. And I thought it was the captain like telling us to shush, but it was a whale breaching. And 2 humpback whales were right in front of the boat and breached. And obviously one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. But I obviously also pissed myself.
Because if you flipped into that
because
water.
we were on our way to go snorkel in said water.
Oh, no. No.
And then you couldn't drink before because of legal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So we went snorkeling and said, piss pants whale water.
I'm going to call out sick. I actually cannot.
Well, it's funny because I went in the water without even thinking about that. And then after when we were drinking, I was like, whale water.
That I would need to be obliterated to be able to get in that water and not lose my mind.
I mean, we were definitely far away from the depths of where a whale is versus where we went to snorkel, but not that far off. We snorkeled like, I wouldn't say it was like, obviously they do it so it's shallow enough that you could see things, but boy, did it not feel far from where that whale was.
And it's just a reminder that they're in there at all times.
Right.
Even if you can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an ocean girl. I mean, I love the ocean. Like I'm obsessed with it, but
the unknown.
Yeah. Well, I used to have like a policy in my old apartment with my old roommates where like, it was like a common
talk about the ocean.
Well, no, it was a common thing where I love talking about space and the ocean. I'll start the conversation, but we'll set a timer. We realize like 15 minutes is the max I can go without freaking out. I'll hit 15 minutes and all of a sudden I'll be like, and then if you think about how big, oh my God, and I'll lose it.
Can you imagine doing that on a date?
No.
Not like I'm picturing.
Like setting a timer?
I was like, wow, it's a really good idea. Because it sounds like something I need. Because I can't focus on someone else talking for that long. So
I just mean like conversations.
I totally know what you mean. But I'm picturing me being like, oh, what do you do for work? Okay, 3, 2, 1. 45 seconds done. Okay. Oh, okay. Sales, great.
Next.
Very cool. Very cool. Wow, I love a timer.
Yeah,
timer
it's the only way to keep, because it's not just like if we're going to have to talk about the ocean or space. It's like, I want to. I love to. I'm obsessed with those things. But there's no middle ground for me. I can't just have a casual conversation. I'm so passionate. I have all these facts I want to discuss and throw out. And then when it's time, my brain starts to short circuit.
I think that's true of people that, not the necessarily being fearful, but like when you know so much about something. Like if someone asks me about animals, I always say I know so little. Like the more I learn, the less I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course. Every time I go out and do something, I'm like, oh, I know add a trillion zeros, 1% of anything about animals.
Right. Same thing with space and the ocean. The more I learn, the more I'm like, oh, actually, I've never known anything in my life. I'm a dumb fucking bitch.
Would you say you know how much about cystic fibrosis? Would you, like, if you had to pick your expert topic?
I wouldn't even put, if I had to pick expert topics.
I straight up don't think I have an expert topic.
If I had to pick an expert topic, I wouldn't even put cystic fibrosis in my top 100.
Mm-hmm.
Because even we don't know that much about it. But I know nothing. And it's a disease that's so different for every person with it that like my experience with it is entirely different than someone else's. It's such a like snowflakey kind of like
that's for sure.
Why am I looking at your camera? Fuck, it didn't even pick up. It's like I only know my own experience.
Yeah.
And even that, I'm like, so much of the medicine they give me when I'm super sick is just for me to forget. It's a privilege to not remember.
I think because you're a performer comedian, if I gave you a topic, you could talk about cystic fibrosis for 45 minutes.
You're right. I could, like, if it was like an improv, like a middle edition Schwartz improv show,
like shooting out facts. But I'm trying to think right now if someone was like, one topic that you
birds for you.
I just don't even know anything.
But you know more than the layman is what you have to remember.
Yeah.
Like you're thinking about it in a sense of like, yes, if you were at a convention of the biggest bird watchers from the world, then yeah, you wouldn't do it.
Wow. What a place.
I know.
It probably smells so bad.
Your eyes just lit up. Yeah.
I think my husband will be there. Every time I go to a Phillies game, I sit down and I have the positive thought. I was like, I think my future husband's in here. He's currently married to someone else and he's playing on the field.
I was going to say he's on third base. It's Trey Turner.
Oh, boy.
Okay, I think it's time.
To do what?
To finish, because I think Neil said, didn't he say he has?
Oh, Neil
A
has
tour?
a friend coming over.
I only say that because while you have this
I'm also
nice.
not correcting you that Trey Turner is not third base, but
Also, Trey Turner is
I saved it. Married.
Trey Turner's out right now, isn't he?
Mm,
Yeah, I know.
with me.
Yeah.
That's a Trey turn her, am I right?
Ayo.
Turn me, Trey.
Yeah. Follow us.
Who's not married? Who's not married? Al Bohm and Brandon Marsh are roommates.
No way. Oh, I love that.
Yes,
Why do
I
they need
said
roommates? They're so fucking rich.
They're never home.
Oh,
So you just
Yeah,
get a
I
big
guess
house
that's
with your buddy.
fair. You don't need to be wasteful. Yeah.
I said to my mom, I was like, "You imagine waking up in that house?" And she was like,
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh,
We
what
need
do
to
you-"
go. I wish we had gone to that Eagles event so that
Mm,
we just need to meet very, very rich sports players.
for what? Sex?
Yeah.
Oh.
To be there.
Eh.
If we're going to be side pieces, we might as well do
It's
it.
not always fun having sex with someone who's never been like told they aren't hot. or,
No,
like,
yeah.
anything.
No, that's very fair. Yeah. But it's not about it
You
being
get
fun.
a lot of American Psycho.
Mhm. Just
How
looking
many
in the
mirrors do you have set up in your bedroom?
One on every wall.
For what?
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. Oh my God. The fact that you believed it is making me
You're an actor. I don't know.
really think about how I present myself to the world. Yeah. No.
Well, I also pictured like you could have like a small one on every
Yeah.
wall.
No, I don't. No, I definitely don't.
I have one full length mirror in
Yeah,
my room.
full
That's
length.
set up pretty precariously
Full length.
for.
The one by the door, just like you.
Mm.
That's it. That's all we need.
Hmm.
I'm a simple girl. I like purple and, and whales.
I'm a simple girl. I love toy toner.
I love purple and being witch. Oh wait. Please
Five.
follow us on
Oh yes,
our Instagram. Is it just Dying Up Here?
Dying Up Here Pod.
Yeah.
Dying Up Here Pod.
Let's look.
Like, follow, subscribe, Spotify, YouTube. It'll come on to other places once you guys start listening to it. But right now it's just Kirsten's mom and our 3% followers from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out.
Mm-hmm.
It
is.
What is he here?
No, nothing.
Oh.
Dying up here. Sorry, I actually went to go look. There's I know we're recording. I don't want to go in, but did you know there's a YouTube button called "I'm Dying Up Here"?
There was a show.
Yeah, there's a show.
Yeah, we looked.
Yeah, the show didn't do well.
Yeah. We had to go through so many
Andrew
names.
Santino is on it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he talks about it was like it's based off the
It's about just comedy. Like dying up
Oh.
here from that sense.
Yeah, but wasn't it like a 70s because he's like got really bad hair in it. Yeah,
That was a show.
1970s.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like they're all trying to get on Carson.
Yeah, it was Jim Carrey produced it.
Yeah, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. I never watched it
Yeah.
though.
Me neither.
I
But
love
people have told me
Santino.
since our pod.
Really?
Yeah. Follow us on I have to say it. Follow us on Instagram on at Dying Up Here Pod.
Not
Um,
the show, not to be confused with Andrew Santino and an HBO show.
Not to be confused with
Written,
that.
directed by Jim Carrey.
And follow us on our actual Instagrams. Mine's at Kirsten Michelle Cills.
Mine is Jamie Amalia Pappas, my full government name.
My full government name as well. And
Follow, subscribe,
and please
Venmo,
give this 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify.
and $5.
It costs you $5. It costs you literally $0 to give this 5 stars, and it makes a huge difference for us, unfortunately.
Sorry, I had a cough during our promo. Keep it
Just
in.
clap, Neil. Oh
Don't
my
cut.
God.
Hey, producer Neil Wood, subscribe now to the Dying Up Here podcast at Dying Up Here Pod on YouTube. And make sure to follow Kirsten and Jamie on all the stuff. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Hey, how you doing? This is Neil Wood, one of the co-owners of Drop 10 Media Network and who helps run Biggest Little Comedy. You can check out all the other stuff we do at drop10.com. We've got podcasts, live comedy shows, and so much more. Go over there, support your favorite podcast, follow them, subscribe. We appreciate it. Again, we're 100% DIY, just a bunch of creatives trying to make it in this, and give us some feedback. We always enjoy a little feedback. Thanks.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.